Hey guys, welcome to Bastion Time. I am your host Bastion. This is Nintendo News. Let's get to that news. First of all, Dragon Quest X is an MMORPG version of Dragon Quest that has never been released over here, even though it's been out for years now over in Japan. There were rumors that it was going to come to Wii U for us. Originally it was released on the Wii, for goodness sake. Then there were rumors that, okay, so it's going to come over on PC in English. None of that ever happened. It's never been released in English. There's never been a translation of it. And recently, the producers have said, yeah, it's just simply probably not going to happen. Dragon Quest X is not going to come out outside of Japan unless there's tons of fan requests. Which, you know, cynical me thinks, yeah, that's not going to happen still. But then again, they said the exact same thing about Dragon Quest VII, the remakes, 3DS remakes of Dragon Quest VII and Dragon Quest VIII, and those are coming out because they say they got tons of fan requests, so I suppose it's possible. I wouldn't get your hopes up. And also, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not into MMORPGs. Dragon Quest is a good old-fashioned JRPG. It doesn't need to be an MMORPG. I'm fine with just playing the JRPG versions of Dragon Quest. I don't really need to play the MMORPG, so if it never comes out over here in English, I'm gonna be okay. Our next story is about some very pricey but very fashionable Legend of Zelda inspired clothing, a whole fashion line. And, you know, we've seen all kinds of t-shirts and robes, and, you know, things are getting more advanced, but this is taking it to the next level where this is definitely fashion and not just clothing. And some of it is very pricey. There's a very fancy jacket, for instance, that's like, I forget the exact price, but it's well over $100. I think it's like $170 or something like that. And why? It doesn't have anything that amazing on it. It's a nice olive green color. It's matched Link's tunic, and it's has some designs like embroidered into it, but that's about it. And then the next step down is admittedly a very nice looking like knitted shirt that's got that looks a lot like Link's tunic without being cosplay. It looks like something modern, but it does have like a hood sort of thing that has the pointed end to it to look like Link's hat, and it does look quite nice, but that's like $80, I think. And then there's another step down that's just straight up a hoodie that's a little less nicely made but still has that same aesthetic. And then there's like a fancy bag and something else. And it's all nice, but I mean, I don't know that there are that many Zelda fans out there that are like, oh yes, I have to have that. I'm gonna spend $170 for that jacket. I just can't see that they're gonna sell that well, but who knows? I know I'm not buying one of them, probably, unless they drop dramatically in price, but we'll see. If you want to look at all of those, there's a link down there for you. And speaking of Zelda items that are being sold for maybe slightly too much money, FIGMAS has a new set out of Twilight Princess-oriented Link and Zelda figures, and they look nice, they're detailed and stuff, but if you know me, you know I don't really collect that kind of stuff, so it doesn't really tickle me, but I know a lot of you do, so I figured I'd let you know that pre-orders are finally open for those things, so if you want to check out the pre-orders and the prices and whatnot, there's a link down there for you. And our final story for the day is something that's not even really necessarily Nintendo specific. It's just so bizarre to me that I want to talk about it, and since the game has finally been released on the Wii U, that tangentially makes me able to talk about it, which is Minecraft is getting a novelization by a very famous novelist. It's by Max Brooks, who, if you don't know who he is, he's the guy who wrote the book World War Z that the movie was based on, but fans of the book will tell you that movie is like your typical Hollywood popcorn movie and nothing like the literature of the book, which is much more literary. Basically, it's like, it would be as if Gregory Maguire, I don't know if you know who he is, but he's like, he writes literature. It would be like if he were tasked with writing a Legend of Zelda novel. It would just be odd. It'd be like, how the hell did they convince him to do that? That's weird, or if they could resurrect Charles Dickens from the dead and have him write a Mario novelization or something. It's just, it's very confusing to me. But anyways, it should be interesting and good if it's being written by Max Brooks, so we'll have to see how that pans out. He must be like a super huge fan of the game or something like that. But anyways, if you want to read more about that, there's a link down there for you. That is it for this episode of Nintendo News. See you guys in a couple days for more news. Bye, guys.